Hello, welcome today. We are back on a Monday. We went on a Wednesday last week because last Monday was my birthday and I decided to take that day off. So back on a Monday, October 6th, it's the Come As You Are panel. And I was telling our panelists before we went live, I love the Come As You Ares because they're exactly that. Show up as you are today, wherever it is that we're meeting you at and we're meeting each other at, and talk about those things that are impacting you today, this week, this minute. Sometimes it's, it can be down to the minute and the hour, depending on our day goes, especially on a Monday. You never know what you're going to get. I'm in the Pacific time zone. It's only a little after 10 for me, but these ladies are halfway through their day. So who knows what's already hit the fan on this Monday that we're coming here to join you. But I have a new friend here with me today, Hartley Klinger. And then I have a good old friend here with me today, my friend Erin Copelan. So we've got two great combinations here of women with extraordinary stories and living everyday, ordinary lives, so to speak, which is what I love about our network, our group of women that come together. Is we're all just out here doing the best we can with the resources we have. But making a difference right where we are every day, taking that experience we've had, taking our backgrounds. I'm like, what can I do to be a shapeshifter here, a difference maker in this space of resources that I can create out of what I've learned, and how can I make my mark in the world and make this world maybe just a little bit better than what I got within it. And that's what these ladies have done in their own stories. But today, Come As You Are. Welcome. Erin, let's start with you. How are you doing today? It's been a wild few months for you. So I'm always happy when you're able to jump on. How is life going for you today?
It's going. The theme, well, it's only Monday. I was going to say the theme of the week, but I guess it's been since last week.
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't ask me what day it is. I'm glad that you noted that at the beginning, because then when I look at it, I can be like, oh, that was Monday. I've been in that place of monkey brain, where so many thoughts and so many lists and so many things. I actually, on my Substack, it was either Friday or Saturday, the monkey brain was so bad. And I was like, okay, I'm going to change this pattern. I'm not going to do this. Because old Erin would have been like sat in it and like tried to force her way through it and make lists and just like organize all of the 10,000 monkeys. I said, no, we're going to do something different. We're going to break the pattern. And I went for a walk, and during the walk, an entire like podcast basically came through to me. And so I got home, jumped in my closet, and recorded my very first bonus audio for my Substack audience, because my paid subscribers on that platform get bonus audios. And I went through, it was so much fun. Like, I had jotted a couple of notes, but it was really storytelling and me and out there. And I remembered how often I forget to use my own tools.
Yep.
And it's because I forget what they are. When I am in the shit and I just know I have 100 things to do, I forget what my tools are.
Yeah,
I forget. And so I'm planning on doing it before the holidays. It's not all planned out. So your audience is actually the very first to hear about this, because I haven't even told my people yet. I'm putting together a back to basics course it can be for caregivers, but it can be for busy moms. It can be because I'm going to put it out before the holidays, anybody who's maybe in the space of grief, because if you've been following Melissa and you've seen me a couple times, I'm mid-grief after the loss of my grandfather in August. And I think it's going to be a Zoom first live. I haven't decided if it's going to be Zoom or just a webinar. I'm not sure how I want to put together yet, but something that you can keep and refer to that like leans into just all of your choices, all of your choices, to remind you of what you have. I had a whole session with a massage client of mine, and we were talking about cupping, and I was like, oh, I forgot to cup my leg. Like, I forget. I do cupping on other people. I can do it to myself. I went to
Yeah.
acupuncture yesterday, and he's like, oh, when your mind's feeling like super crazy, like you can soak your feet in Epsom salt, and that's really going to help ground you. I was like, I know that, but I forget and I don't do it.
Yeah.
And so just putting these things together. I'm also on this human design kick right now, like big time. And in human design, I'm a 4-6 generator. So as a generator, I've got all this energy and I have to have a place to put it. But it also means that I like choices. And so if I have a list in front of me, I can be yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And so that's part of what I want to take the group through too, is like, you don't have to do what Melissa's doing or what Kira's doing, but you can look at these lists and be like, does walking sound good? No. Does the Epsom foot salt soak sound good? Yes. And like, yes. And that's part of the process. So my monkey brain, there, you got to example it. I got human design, I got lists, I got grief, I'm all over the place. That's what I got.
But that's life. I mean, that's what I like about the Come As You Are. That's where you are today. That's life. And you also gave Kira another tool, like the Epsom salt piece, because I didn't fully, I know a little bit about it, but I didn't fully understand the power of it until I got at a auction I was at for the Fresno State football kickoff dinner. I was able to bid on this float experience where it's basically like a spa float. And I got a month of it for free, which is not free. I bid on it for like $150. It has like a over $1,000 price point, like the value of it. I got it for like 10% of what it's worth.
Nice.
And I was able to utilize it for most of the month. There was a week I was gone, but most of the month, and got to see exactly what the kind of this settling. And also it woke me up to how hard it is for me to settle. So yeah, super, super. But yeah, thank you for sharing all of that and what you were able to, you found a way through that worked for you. You looked at your resources, you remind yourself, because I know exactly what you mean about, I have a whole framework and I have to didn't really pay attention to the boundaries piece this week. Not really prioritizing my own wellness, so it's like they say that we share and we work in and we teach what it is we need the most. And that is 1,000%. And I get so focused on getting it out to everybody else that I sometimes will forget to apply it back to myself. And so
we forget to come home. We just forget to come home.
Right. Yeah. With the very thing that we created, that we knew we needed. So thank you so much for all of that. Kira, welcome to your first panel. Welcome to the Come As You Are. Let us know how you're doing. Where are you today in life on this Monday?
Mondays are usually my busy day. I have all my orders from the weekend. I have internet stores. So Monday's usually a pretty busy day, and I try not to complain about that because busy is money, and money makes the world go round. And well, anyway, you say monkey brain. If I were to live in your world, I'd be on Monkey Island. In my world, I call it getting squirreled. It's like a dog with a squirrel, he's off on his, see? And I get squirreled 3,000 times a day. And I wonder why at the end of the day, I look back and say, what did I get done today? And, and I try to do the whole time slot thing. I've over and over, I have set up my day like into periods, like I'm in school again, the bell's going to go off. Oh, time's up, on to the next thing. But inevitably I am squirreled halfway through that period, and then time runs over and I'm like, oh, well, it's only 5 minutes. It's just 5 minutes. And then by the time I get to the end of the day, well, I've lost an entire 3 periods. It's like I skipped school, so I feel your pain. But today I'm going to mark up as a good day. I am forever known as the person who tries to juggle too much. And if I'm not doing something, my hands feel bored. I can't even sit down and watch TV at the end of the night. I'm sewing, I have to be doing something. They don't know what to do. I go for a trip in the car, on an airplane. My husband calls me the used to call me the passenger princess, because I always want him to drive, because I'm going to be texting or surfing or sewing. I can't stop. I don't know what it is. So I know all about relaxing, the Epsom salt things. I can do that while I'm watching TV and while I'm sewing. I mean, I'm really good at multitasking. So coming in, I mean, my husband and I are in our late 50s now. We've been renovating this farmhouse for 13 years. And every year it gets harder and harder and harder. And yesterday we did something that wasn't necessarily hard, but we have chickens, and we had to clean out a chicken coop, and we had to, dust the chickens for mites and all these other crazy things. We came in the house, took a shower, and just couldn't move. And it was only 3:00 in the day. It's just like, oh my gosh. So, we went to bed early. We get up at 4:30 in the morning around here. So, I got up, I stayed up, I did my shipping. I had this today, did not want to run late, of course, but I had a really great conversation with my family doctor last week. We live in a small town, and our family doctor, she's a nurse practitioner, but it's little 3-room, clinic in town. And I love the nurse, and I love the nurse practitioner and the secretary. And I have, again, here goes the squirrel brain, I have more flower gardens than I have time to take care of. So the first thing I do when I know I'm going to see these ladies is I run around and I cut what's left in my gardens, and I bring in 3 peanut butter jars with flowers in them, whatever. But anyway, we were there last week, and I was talking to them, and I said, I just put out my kids' book, a few months ago. And I said, I want to put they have one of their rooms is set up with books for if they have children come in. So I said, I want to put a book in your children's room. And they're like, yeah. We want to buy books too. And so, of course, I had to come with my books today, and I sold 3 copies of the book and a wristband. And so I was like, yay, good Monday. Woohoo.
Bonus.
It is a bonus because, one of the things that I have been trying to do is find time to promote the kids' book, because I love this book. I love the character of the book, and I want to get it promoted for Christmas. And by the time I get done at the end of my day with everything else, I'm like, oh, I didn't do any of that. So, this felt like, I did something. But yes, I have a very, very hard time isolating me time. And quite honestly, you mentioned going to an auction, and that is the one thing that will rejuvenate me, to get out there and to go up against people. And I really especially love to beat down men in the auction ring. I'm in the buy and sell world. And so there are a lot more men in this field than there are women. And a lot of them are retired men. And there's nothing more satisfying than little old me showing up and taking something out from under their nose, because we all stalk each other and follow each other, and we all find each other at the next auction and be like, yeah, you kind of did really well on that. And you're like, I know.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
I've not been to an auction in a blue moon. I am on self-imposed hiatus because my garage is overflowing with, I like to shop more than I like to sell. So anyway, you said auction. I'm like, auction?
You perked right up.
I did.
Oh my gosh. I love what you shared, because it's just such an example of, we all have that thing that fills our cup and that really hits for us. It feels rejuvenating. It feels life-giving. And it doesn't have to fall. Sometimes we get really stuck into these categories of what everyone says is what is restful. And for so many of us, like, that does not do it for me. No, absolutely not. So I'm always, when I work with women, I'm like, find the thing that fits for you. It doesn't matter if it fits for anybody else. Does it fit for you? And keep trying on these things until you find that thing that fits. There will be something that fits, but don't get locked into, well, these 5 traditional things that everybody talks about. It's not for everybody. And that doesn't mean you can't find that thing. It's just that thing doesn't fall into this, what I guess we'd call traditional or mainstream places. And so I love that you shared that. And so, yeah, so find that thing that fills you up, that fills your cup, and it doesn't have to be what everybody else does. And because we all move at different rates and different energy levels. And, what works for one person doesn't work for another person. For me, I totally relate to the squirrel brain, monkey brain. Like when things start swirling and I've got a lot going on right now. I've got the podcast, I've got the panel show, I'm speaking, doing public speaking. We've got an online course that I'm working on, kind of creating like the network brand versus, not even versus, but also my own personal brand and how I work individually, but also how I work collectively. So there's all of these things swirling. This was a passion project when I started, and now I want it to be the thing that also supplies income. And so how do I create all of this? So I get it. And what I have found for me is I usually have to just like go do like a rigorous workout sometimes with there's a lot swirling. That kind of helps settle, like it gets out like the toxins. But through that, sometimes I'll be able to surf through things. And I always keep my journal close because I'm jotting things down while they pop into my head and they're fresh. Sometimes, like yesterday, I was feeling very tight and very sore from some workouts that I done and just having a full week. And so I've been doing a lot of reflection. I think birthday weeks kind of just bring that up. You end up doing a lot of reflection. It wasn't necessarily intentional. Some of it was derived off of questions friends and loved ones were asking me. Others were just things I was planning and falling into. So within all that, I realized I'm carrying a lot of this in my body on top of it. So I did this really rejuvenating yoga stretching where I'm like, I feel so much better now. But that wasn't going to help me a couple of days earlier. So it's like also, it's like what Erin said, look at that thing and you have your resources. Remember what your resources are. Remember that usually it's all within you already. You already know. You just got to figure out where it is you're going to tap into it. And however that works for you. For some people, for me, if I get it in my calendar, it'll happen. If I don't get it in my calendar and I say I'll do it, you better remind me. My husband has been like saying, I'm always the one every year when it's time to make decisions about whether we're going to change anything in our insurance plans or we're going to keep it the same. That's mine. In my original days as an HR person, I was a benefits administrator. So I was very familiar with how insurance works, what insurance, all the different kinds. And so every year my husband just hands me the folder and we got to make decisions by this date. I know. It's the thing that
default.
Yeah. And he has his things that he handles. This is my thing. And I have not been, he gave it to me 3 weeks ago. And I finally realized, oh my gosh, the deadline's Friday of next week. So Wednesday is my day. It's in my calendar. And I know I'm not filling a bunch of stuff around that. That's the thing I'm focusing on that day. Because if I look at my calendar, and I've been talking about this for a couple of months now, this is my big takeaway from this summer. And I think it's going to be from 2025 is I don't look at my calendar in terms of time on the calendar. I look at my calendar according to bandwidth. Like what kind of bandwidth is it going to, is this going to ask of me? Okay, I got too many things in there. So I need to move some things around or do a shift. So I looked, Wednesday's pretty open. I've got somebody coming to look at our roof for some work that needs to be done. But other than answering emails and just the administrative stuff that I do every day for the work, I don't have anything in there. That's going to be my insurance day. And I'm not putting anything else in there because I know what kind of bandwidth that's going to require of me. If I finish it and I've got some bonus energy I wasn't expecting, there's plenty to do. I can look into what's on the next day's calendar or what's on next week's or I can just be done, get my workout in, move my body. And so that has really helped me in terms of switching that, because I think, like, curious, you said earlier, like sometimes you get 5 minutes into something, I'm like, not today. That's just, I'm already distracted by 5 other things. And
Right.
so yeah, so I have, and there's these, and we all have it in our work. There are those things that just have to get done. We don't love them, but they're part of the overall bigger thing that we want to do. And so we do them. But I think where we get in trouble is like when we start saying yes to things outside of that sphere, and we start looking at our, we start treating everything like, oh, that it's like, is it really that thing you have to do? Or is that something somebody else can do? Or something that is there's a different season for that. And so, yeah, just being careful with that when we say those things that we don't love, making sure that they actually are the things that are going to keep us afloat, or if we over yesed. But yeah, looking at the bandwidth and knowing, what it is that's going to help clear out when things are running around like wildfire in there. Because I also, anxiety is a lifelong partner, and I've had to learn how to live with her in a healthy way. Yeah. And so I have had to really change my relationship with her. I had this funny notion when I really dove in the fall of 2019 that I was going to get rid of her. She was no longer going to be part of my life. And my therapist is like, that's not how it works. We don't. I know. I was like, she's like, and at the time, because of what my relationship was with anxiety, the idea that I couldn't get rid of her was so deflating. And it's like, you need to change your relationship with her. You need to let her know she doesn't need to show up, with fire alarms and everything that happens. And that when she is alerting you that it's actually, whether lions truly are chasing you, or whether it is, or coming for your family, or whether it's just, actually something, oh, if I do this and that, the world's not, it's not on fire. So that was such a revelation. And now I'm like, okay. And so the good news now is I can feel it in my body. I can feel it coming. I'm like, all right, she's trying to creep in and take up more territory than I need, than I really am required of. It's time to step away and do X, Y, and Z. But yeah, I think it's just knowing what are your things that are going to help you out, and having that list of resources to refer to, reminding yourself of what you already know and what's going to kick in that day, because it's not going to be the same thing. And I think sometimes when we get locked into, I do this every day, all the time, make sure that's still working for you. Great if you have a routine. Yeah. I know people that are very routine focused and it works for them, but pay attention to your body when you start getting a notion that maybe this isn't giving me what I need anymore. Do I need to make some adjustments? Don't be afraid to do that. But back to Erin, did anything that Kira said or I said that brought up anything for you?
I mean, so much. I also, I get squirreled all the time along with the monkey brain. So the animals
two of them.
I know.
They just take over. I was on whatever day I just said, I went for the walk. I sat down at my computer and started computing things, but I was trying to go for a walk and I was like, stop, you just put pants on. Put on your pants and leave. And you can leave the Amazon cart open. Like I decided I had to buy something like right then.
They have more.
No pants.
They won't go.
No pants. Amazon. Like it'll be there. And I got the pants and I walked out the door and I got brave. Also, just Melissa, you talking about, listening to your body and not doing things to continue that, not doing things necessarily how everybody else does them. In my little bonus episode on Substack, I talked to people because I did a meditation also this week as part of the monkey brain. Like I just have to attempt I have to slow down something. Yeah. And it's hard for me to try to meditate when I'm that crazy in my head. Mm-hmm. But I was like, we'll just try this. We'll just see what happens. And I was able to set in a little bit, but my body started twitching. I was actually having somatic releases. I've been doing somatic exercises for probably about 6 months now.
Mm-hmm.
And earlier in the week, I was really thrown into some trauma. Like a lot of trauma was reactivated in my body. I dissociated so significantly, and that I was numb. I was numb and completely locked up. It was like I was in both fight and freeze at the same time. I don't even know if that's a thing
Yeah.
for reals, but I was locked up. And so I started twitching. I was having releases. My shoulders were going, my head was going, like my body was just moving. Like when the lion, if you see the videos, the lion chases the gazelle escapes, and they do that ripple.
Yeah.
And that's them releasing the trauma. And humans don't do that.
Yeah.
We hold it. We don't shake it off like the animals do, because then the gazelle can just be like, okay, cool, I didn't die. I'm going to eat my grass now. And they're fine.
Yeah.
Right.
And it brought me back. I got so mad because it brought me to a place where I've been in some like yoga classes or meditation classes where the instructors are like, don't move, sit still, stay quiet, like don't scratch, be present, like stay in the uncomfortable. And I was like, this was not me fidgeting because I was uncomfortable about silence or trying to scratch. My body was trying to have a release. And so I was like, oh my gosh, how many opportunities did I miss? Because somebody was at the front of the room telling me to hold still. And so just inviting people, because there is one message, like they don't want you fidgeting because they are trying to teach a discipline, but we know our bodies best. We know best. And you can get input and ideas. I mean, that's what the human experience is about. It's community and co-creation and things, but we have to stop and pay attention to what makes us feel good. We have to do it. We can't just mirror everything around us. We have to stop.
Yeah. And what I think to remember about that is what another reason this is so important is we'll try to do the things that other people tell us should work. So get rid of the should. And then we shame ourselves because, oh my gosh, I just can't quiet down. I just can't settle. What is wrong with me? Instead of like, that doesn't meet me where I'm at. That doesn't. So what does? I mean, so for me, I found, rather than trying to force myself into a meditation where there's someone I go outside. I put my timer on 10 minutes and I just sit outside and I listen to the birds and I listen to the trees and I feel the sun on my face. No music, no phone. There's no, and sometimes, if I don't need the timer that day, if I don't have other things, sometimes I'll just allow myself to be out there for as long as I feel like I need to be. And that helps me kind of settle. My brain gets the quiet it needs. It's able to kind of organize the chaos that's going on inside. And 99.9% of the time, I come out of it feeling like, okay, I've hit reset. I've allowed time for everything to settle. And I have found that's the most effective thing for me. I'm not super effective in an official meditation, but my body kind of responds. And maybe that's my form of it. My form of it is just getting quiet and getting outside. I know that the sun on my face is a rejuvenating thing for me. That just sends, especially, I'm lucky now. I live in a space now for the last 2 years where I get a lot more sun and warm than anywhere I've ever lived before. I've always lived in states with seasons and stuff. And so when it's been cold and all of a sudden you feel the sun on your face for the first time in a while, it's just this rejuvenation for me. But even here where I get a lot more sun, it still has that effect and I'm able to take advantage of it. Like I go outside every morning before my day starts and I take a glass of water with me and I sit outside and sometimes I do some box breathing. Sometimes I just sit there and look at the sun. And sometimes it's, rising and just settle. But it took me a while to figure out that thing. I kept trying to make myself meditate. And I got myself to a point where it was kind of sort of effective. But I was reading Glennon Doyle's book Untamed, and she talked about just find 10 minutes every day of quiet, nothing else. No music, no podcast, no children, no phone, computer. You just find somewhere that feels soothing to you and get quiet for 10 minutes every day. And so I'm like, okay, that sounds really simple, because sometimes we just need the simple thing. Yeah. Kira, how about you? Anything Erin said or that I've said that brought anything else up for you?
Okay, so I have horses. We call them hay burners. We call them yard ornaments. We call them a lot of things because they don't get ridden. The whole horse thing started. Well, I had horses when I was a child. My daughter was obsessed when she was a child. We ended up doing some volunteer work in an equestrian therapy center when she was about 10 to try to get her that horse exposure without costing me any money. Well, it turned into a horse, and it was her 4-H horse, and 4-H was a great experience for her. When I became a single parent, she's like, "Oh, Mom, we really need more than one horse so that we can ride together, so my friends can ride." And, we lived in Amish country, and we would always pass by all these Amish farms. And in the springtime, all you saw were horse babies everywhere. And we'd be like, "Oh, it'd be so fun to have a horse baby. We really need to have a horse baby." So she's like 15 years old, and she comes to me on Pet Finder, "Mom, look what I found." And like I said, I'm newly divorced, and she finds this mare and her 3-month-old colt that were rescued from an abusive home. She's like, "Mom, we always said we were going to raise a baby." And I'm like, okay. So here we are, like 20 years later. Her horse died about 2 years ago. And the colt that I've raised from a baby, he's now 16 or 17. His mom, she's blind now. I fully intended to break him, to ride him, whatever. But as we know, this life, anyway, I have 2 Newfoundland dogs. He's my 3rd Newfoundland. He is a big dog. And he is as sweet as can be. I love him to pieces. I'm like the only person he's ever known, but he's never been ridden. And so I've gotten a lot of slack over the years from my husband, from my dad, from well-meaning people. Why do you keep paying for these 2 horses that you don't ride, And I do the same thing because it gets me out of my chair and out of the house several times a day to go do something else, to go care for them, to take me outside, because if it weren't for the bringing me outside, I might never do it. So now this is what it looks like. I'm up at 4:30 in the morning and, eating my breakfast, trying to do some listings, trying to get my shipping done, trying to beat the mailman. I try to be outside by 9 or 9:30. It's run from 4:30 in the morning. I go out the back door. Now I live on a 5-acre hobby farm, and we have no neighbors on 3 sides. The people across the street, you hardly notice, quiet as can be. Same as you. I have my birds. I have my flowers. I have the big open country sky above me, and I will walk outside, put my mail by the mailbox, and then everything just to a halt. And now I'm walking and I'm looking. And I'm touching my flowers. I'm seeing what's blooming. I'm seeing what's growing. I might pick raspberries. I might pick my tomatoes. I go out to the hen house. I'm collecting eggs. I go out and I talk to the horses and I feed the horses. And I have like this, I refer to it, this is where I find God. And I've been randomly take a snapshot. If I had to leave the other day at 6:30 in the morning and the sun was just coming up, and we're so flat here in Ohio, it is glorious. We get sunsets over. It is glorious. So I've been known to like slam on the brakes, take a picture. But yeah, so my husband's brother, and I love all of his siblings. He needed a place to stay in transition. He'd been living on the road in his RV with his wife, and they just needed to squat for a little while in between. So they were planted in our backyard for about 6 weeks. And it's like, okay, and I'm one of those people that I adore my solitude. I just do.
Mhm.
I adore my solitude. And so it's like, I gotta put a bra on before I go outside. I gotta think about what I'm wearing. So,
Or not, and maybe they won't stay as long.
I know. I mean, I was just, and I felt so bad because my mom and dad have come here so many times and stayed in the house for extended periods of time, helping me after a surgery or whatnot. And they're not even in my house. And my husband was such a better trooper than I was, But it took me probably 4 weeks out of that 6 weeks to get over it. They won't be here forever, because I was just so, every time I'd go out and I'd come around the corner, you know, out of my solitude. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd have to go past the trailer to get to the horse barn. And when I'd come back and I'd be walking towards the trailer, I've got like my arms over my chest. If I didn't put that damn bra on, and I'm not listening to the birds and I'm not picking berries and screw the stupid flowers. I just got to get back in the house and forget that they're here. And so they left a couple weeks ago. And I kid you not, the very next morning when I went outside, I mean, I just not only walked outside and my hands were in the sky, like,
Literally praising God and the universe that you had your space back.
I did. And like I said, I feel terrible. I love family, but I love my solitude. And I tend to get really super stingy with it. And, I just think I had so much stress and anxiety in my life for so long that I'm greedy with it now. It's mine. So yeah, and I know all about anxiety. She sits on my shoulder and you call it a her, which cracks me up. I just call it going to the dark place. And my husband knows when I'm going to the dark place. My oldest son, he says, "Mom, you're spiraling." I'm like, "I know, I'm trying not to." So I know all about anxiety. It hits me the hardest when I go to bed at night and my mind is trying so hard to shut down, and there's so many dark places at nighttime. So I don't know. Yeah. So a lot of that resonated.
Yes, thank you so much for that. Thank you for sharing the honesty of so many things that we all feel. Like, you all are great. And also something that my husband and I have learned this summer, it became very evident to me, was that our 3 children are grown, and they're all over the country. And so a lot of our vacation time ends up being going to visit or having them visit, whatnot. And what we have learned through this is that always love our time, always wonderful, but always busy and creating wonderful memories, but it's not restful. And so I realized, so it was another one of those summers where we had 2 different trips with kids, super fun, wonderful memories, so thankful, but not restful. And so I've come into the fall not feeling rested, and also realizing that I'm still carrying kind of the mental and emotional exhaustion of 7 years of helping to care for Brady's aging parents, who both passed 2 years ago. But I'm still not like, I was talking about this in last week's panel. I realized during the week, like, I'm still carrying some of that, not to mention the people around me that are still grieving in their different ways through it. And I told Brady yesterday, I'm like, we have to schedule multiple and leave room in our vacation time for both the fun time and rejuvenate, because it's very rejuvenating for us being with the girls in many ways. And also, we need time where we can just go rest, and there's no expectation of anything other than settling. And we realized that for him to really unplug, we've either got to get really remote where there's no Wi-Fi, or we've got to like go to another country, like literally leave the country. And I mean, and we're fortunate that we've been able to do that a few times. And so I'm like, we need to, like, for this fall, for the short term, find a long weekend or something, which is hard to find in the fall. Our falls are busy, but find a long weekend where we can do a short version of that. But moving forward, being very mindful of, we're going to do this over here to rejuvenate. and do this over here to fill up in a different way, enjoy the family, but we have to be intentional about finding room for both. Or I come into a season that I know that's going to be busy, and I'm like, I didn't get it. I'm still feeling the after effects of it. So yeah, I think that's a lot, when we have those moments, like when we don't necessarily notice it till we didn't get it. And then we're like, oh, woof. That's that needs to be top of the list. I have to, for in the future, when I'm planning these things, I have to be mindful of like, okay, how am I going to work around this while this is happening? Or how am I going to make, is there an alternate way I can make sure I get what I need in doing this, but knowing you just become very clear, but also unapologetic. Like, this is what I need. And if everyone wants to have and enjoy the healthiest, most authentic version, because we all benefit when we're coming in healthy and filled and refreshed versus not, then these are the non-negotiables in my life. And I'm not going to apologize for them, because y'all lose when I don't get this. You all get a version of me that's not nearly as enjoyable. Or like,
yes, I think I heard passive aggressive several times from my husband.
Yes,
I'm trying.
I love having them here. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think that, so it's just being mindful of that thing, and then knowing there's a place for it. And when there's, and also knowing that in different seasons, it'll change. We've all had different seasons in our life. But I love what you said, Kira, about, our friend Dana Diaz, who has a different but similar story to yours, is very unapologetic now about what she needs in her life and what's important to her and how she's going to show up in ways that honor her. And I think you become even more aware of it because you spent so many years without it, and you know the impact that it had on you and the damage that it did. And you're just like, I'm not going back. That's not. And for Erin, for you, in those years where you didn't have the resources as a caregiver, it's like, I'm not going back. I'm not doing that.
Oh, my body won't let me go back anymore. Even if I try to get in the old patterns, it's like, guess what? I'm going to break your back. I'm going to make you sick. I'm going to give you a sty in your eye. I'm going to give you a migraine. I will give you diarrhea. I would like whatever it is. My body's like, we're not doing it. We are not doing it anymore. So I'm like,
Yeah. And I think, and I talk about this all the time, but that's your body trying to advocate for you. And so many times like, oh, my body's against me. She's failing me. Kira and her husband yesterday at 3:00, we're done. Your bodies were like, rest me. Rest me. Y'all worked hard. That's great. It's Sunday afternoon. Give me a break.
It's time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's time. Thank you so much for all of this, ladies. Any last thoughts? And then also share where our listeners can find you and follow you. This will all be in our show notes. Kira is going to be with me later in the year on the podcast. So you're going to get to hear more of her story there as well. But Kira, let's start with you. Any last thoughts for our listeners today, and where people can find and follow you, especially as we're getting close to the holidays? Those children's books and those quilts will come in very handy.
Now this is where I get sucked into doing things extra. I can't tell you how many dozens of quilts I have made for friends and family. And I love doing it, but I'm to the point where I physically can't anymore. The arthritis in my hand is horrible. So I don't quilt. I sell the fabric to people that want to make the quilts, and I will talk projects all day long like that. I am not for hire for quilts. But yes.
Good for you. You've set that boundary. Good.
Didn't I?
Yay.
The children's books, though, I am trying to package them up for Christmas. When we did, the artist and I were best friends, and she did the covers for all my books. But we did our only library gig, I don't know, like a month ago. And I was going through the library, plucking older people out of the library and saying, do you have grandchildren? And what is the best question you can ask a grandparent? Because if they do, all they want to do is talk about their grandkids. I have 3 grandchildren, and I would, you want to know about my grandkids? Okay. every single grandparent I pulled out of that library came in there and bought books for their grandkids. So I'm like, okay, I need to get these packaged up for Christmas because it's targeting the grandmothers out there. So, which that's where they were at the doctor's office where I sold 3 books. They were all grandmothers.
Yes.
So the book is called Arlo the Camp Bus. And you can find it on Amazon, and you can find it on my Etsy shop, which is Dot Oddity. Weird name. But it's under Kira Lee. And both the artist and I used just our first and middle names because we both have middle names that have family history. They've both been passed down and passed down and passed down. So we just went with it's Kira Lee and Kit Marie. Cute, right? We could be,
very
siblings.
cute.
Yeah. So anyway, but if Instagram under Dot Oddity also. I also have an author Facebook page under Kira Hartley Klinger, and you can come chat with me anywhere. That's another one of my squirrels, but it's one of my happy squirrels is writing back and forth. So.
I love that. Any last thoughts for our listeners today?
Oh gosh, I reflecting back on just finding that space that's all yours. I didn't know I needed it until I found it. So I think it's really important to find it, to find that spot because there's one shot at this. And my one shot means, oh my gosh, I have 5,000 things I want to do. But at the same time, if I'm not centered, none of this was going on during my marriage. All the things that I'm working on and doing, finding that happy spot and finding that safe spot, finding that God spot, whatever you want to call it, really helps with everything else in life. It helps put all the other pieces back together and makes you function more and your brain work better and accomplish more. And it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. I love that. Sometimes you don't know what you need until you hit it. And then you're like, oh, there it is. And you hold on to that and protect that. I love that. So good. Erin, how about you? Last thoughts on where people can find you?
No, Kira, I really love that, finding that space that's yours, because it can be any place. It can be any place. And it doesn't have to be a huge space. It doesn't have to be a whole room. It can be anything. So I love the possibility in that so much.
Yeah.
My last thought is the invitation to get back to your basics. And whatever that looks like for you. If you, again, I haven't started my creation yet, but if you hop on my website, you can email me or any of the socials and comment basics, and I will get you on the list so that you know when my Back to Basics course launches. If you haven't got my book yet, Welcome to Caregiving, the Things Caregivers Never Talk About. That is on Amazon in paperback, audiobook, which I recorded, and Kindle. All the versions are there. So my website has all kinds of different free resources. And of course, go to Melissa's YouTube page, because I am a guest on all kinds of panels there. And we share so many insights like these with all the different panelists, and they take such fun direction. And we learn so much from each other and share so much with everybody that I just love participating. So thank you for continuing to invite me. I love it so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's one of my favorite things that I get to do. And I think for me, it's remember you have it all within you. Go back to yourself and remember what you know. Remember all those things that you share with everybody else and tell them to do and apply them to you. I'm in this fun kind of season right now where I am kind of, I don't know if rebrand is the right word around it, but we've expanded the possibilities on our framework, and where I'm offering empowerment sessions to work with you one-on-one on how this framework that I have created can support you. We have a book, we have an online course, and our online course is undergoing, it originally dropped in July, but it's even in the process right now of doing some reconstruction in how we offer it. That's going to be available soon, that I'm super excited about. It's going to have kind of some entry level phases and some different ways to invite you into it. And I'm speaking, and I love getting in front of women and talking to them about what's possible. It fills my cup. It gives me life. And it is so, I know what it's done for me. And I just want women to know what's possible for them. So go to embracinglayers.com, fill out that contact form. If any of this sounds like something you want to know more about, let's get together and have a conversation. Thank you, ladies, for being with me today. I love these come as you are conversations. Excuse me, being live, you got to hear me cough. I'm so appreciative of you taking the time and the way you show up in the world, the way you've taken the lessons you've learned, and you've now turned that into energy that is life-giving to others. Thank you so much for doing that. It gives me life when I get to have these conversations with you and share you and your resources. And it's what gives me life in the work that I do and why I decided to do it. I found a pathway. I'm like, wait a minute, everybody needs to know about that. And that's what we're all doing in our own way. So think of, that's the other thing, listeners, think about that thing. If you're getting frustrated with the world, where's that space and place that lights you up, that you can be the difference maker in every day? So thanks so much for being with us on this Come As You Are conversation. Take good care. We'll be back next week. Have a great week. Happy fall if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. Happy spring if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. But find that place to take a breath that's authentic and works for you this week. Take good care. Have a great week.